After the conclusion of Modern Warfare 2, Price and Nikolai unload the injured Soap from the helicopter they used to evacuate. Rushing into the safe house, they attempt to stop the bleeding and save Soap's life. Soap blacks out and they begin to resuscitate him. The title card flashes and the mission ends. Black Tuesday. Taking on the perspective of Sergeant Derek Frost Westbrook, we join Sandman climbing out of a wrecked Humvee in New York. As we open the door and emerge from the wreckage, we witness missiles hit the side of a building, causing rubble to fall to the streets below. Joining a nearby battalion, we fight off Russian forces and make our way through buildings to avoid roadblocks. Arriving at the stock exchange, we take on more enemy forces so that we can make it to the roof of the building and destroy a radio jammer. After defending the position for a few minutes, a helicopter shows up to pick the team up. Frost takes the gunner's seat and brings down multiple enemy choppers, the last one of which causes our helicopter to lose control and nearly throws us out before the pilot is able to regain control.
Look out! We're hit! We're hit! Hang on!
Hunter Killer. Frost and Sandman are joined by the rest of Metal Team as they swim through a submerged Brooklyn tunnel heading toward the New York harbor. We meet up with another squad and continue forward, navigating around underwater mines. Once reaching the Russian submarine, we plant explosives on the side and detonate them, causing the vessel to surface. We then board and clear the interior of the sub, before reaching the bridge where we launch Russian missiles onto their own forces. We make our escape by boarding speedboats, sailing and defending ourselves until we reach a helicopter and evacuate. Persona non grata. Through the eyes of Yuri, we move in to assist Soap. Just as we make it to the medical table, Makarov's men begin an assault on the safe house. With the doctor now dead, Yuri and Price fight their way to and through the courtyard as Nikolai carries Soap out. Facing great opposition, Nikolai mentions a nearby unmanned ground vehicle that Yuri eventually takes control of and escorts Price, Nikolai, and Soap to an escape helicopter. Leaving the controls of the ground drone, Yuri rushes to the chopper before an enemy Heinz fire destroys the ground below him, causing him to slide down a hill and fall into a river. Yuri is eventually able to reach the shore as the rest of the team lands and saves him. Turbulence. Taking control of a bodyguard for the Russian president aboard his personal plane, we escort the president into a meeting room in which he speaks about wanting peace with the United States. We hear gunfire in the plane and fellow agents begin to cover the president. The plane stalls out and we begin fighting in an on and off gravity type of environment. After clearing out many hostiles, we make it to the cargo bay to rescue the president's daughter. While moving the daughter to the safe room, the plane makes an emergency landing, ripping the plane in two. An engine breaks away from the plane and eventually hits the part of the plane we are in, causing us to black out. Waking up, we are being dragged out of the helicopter wreckage by a fellow agent. We get on our feet and begin searching for the president. Taking down enemies, we find the president and begin to escort him to a nearby helicopter to escape. Opening the door to the chopper reveals that Makarov is the one behind all of this. He shoots us and the remaining friendly agents before questioning the president about the Russian nuclear launch codes. The president resists Makarov's demands, causing Makarov to order his men to find and capture the president's daughter.
Every man has his weakness. Find the girl.
Back on the grid. Back in the boots of Yuri, we join Captain Price and a recovered Soap in Africa to search for cargo belonging to Makarov. We make our way to a nearby village where Makarov has factories, all while eliminating and avoiding militia patrols. Price and Soap move into the factory while we provide overwatch from a tower. Inside the factory, Price and Soap are discovered. We rush to their location to provide support. The team of three now fights their way through many militiamen before Yuri falls through the roof of a small hut. We quickly take out the enemy attempting to melee us and regroup with Price and Soap. Reaching the position that the mortars are being fired from, we take control and use mortars to take out the militia. Pushing forward, we reach another factory and take out the enemies inside before making our way outside, where we are ambushed and forced to eliminate more militia. Moving through the ruins of a house, we spot the cargo and must rush before the transport helicopter is able to leave. After fighting our way through a church, Yuri kicks down a door and is bitten by a hyena as he fires at the guards of the helicopter. Despite his efforts, the helicopter is able to make an escape. Mind the gap. Now at a warehouse in Canary Wharf, SAS moves in to stop terrorists from loading unknown cargo onto trucks. Fighting through and securing the warehouse, we open the doors of a truck to discover the package is already left. After some more fighting, the remaining terrorists are able to escape to a nearby train tunnel where we chase them and dodge trains along the way until the truck we are in flips. Waking to see the wreckage of the train, we now make our way to Westminster Station where we must fight off more enemies before making it to street level. Local police and SAS put up roadblocks and stops one of the terrorist trucks by flipping it. This truck also turns out to be empty. In a panic, Walcott attempts to locate the other trucks, but gets no answer. Davis family vacation. Viewed through the lens of a camera that a father is using to record his wife and excited daughter on their vacation, about to visit Big Ben, a box truck stops on the corner where the daughter is playing with a flock of birds. The driver jumps out and runs away shortly before the truck explodes, killing the civilian family and releasing gas onto the streets of London.
You know she gets that from you.
Goalpost. Back with Delta Force and in control of Frost, we are dropped off on the beach in Hamburg with the objective of locating and rescuing the Vice President. We begin assaulting Russian forces as we make our way through the streets, joining a tank squad. Right as they lose their gunner, Frost takes the seat and guns down multiple enemies as we move through a parking garage. Heading up a ramp, the ground collapses below the weight of the tank, causing us to fall a few stories to the ground level where Frost ducks into the tank to avoid being crushed by a falling car. Exiting the tank and continuing on foot, we progress toward the Vice President's location, defending against enemies along the way. Reaching the inside of a destroyed building, we find the remains of the VP's convoy. Noticing a blood trail, the team head upstairs and breach a room, eliminating hostiles and saving the Vice President before evacuating the area. Return to Cinder. Starting in the backseat of a Jeep, we're Yuri again, joining Price and Soap on the hunt for African warlord Waraabe as a massive sandstorm approaches. Crashing through a gate, we begin to assault a harbor where we're able to pull out a tablet to access the remote turret on Nikolai's chopper. Fighting through the compound and reaching Waraabe's office, we breach and clear the room, leaving the warlord the only one alive. The team puts on gas masks as Price sets off a canister of the same gas used in the attack on London, before questioning Waraabe about the whereabouts of Makarov in exchange for a gas mask. Panicking, Waraabe says that he never met Makarov, but instead gives the name of a middleman, Volk, saying that he can be found in Paris. Price tosses a gas mask to Waraabe, only to then execute him for the lives lost due to the chemicals. Regrouping with the rest of the team, Nikolai warns of the rapidly approaching sandstorm. Rushing to the exfil point, we are ambushed by militia and must now head to the secondary point. Just as he is preparing to land, Nikolai's chopper is shot down and the team rushes to grab him to make an emergency evacuation. Fighting through the sandstorm, we make it to Nikolai's crash bird and carry him to the jeeps at the extraction point. Bag and drag. Landing on a rooftop in the still gas-ridden streets of Paris, Frost, Grinch, and Sandman make their way through destroyed houses and navigate across rooftops, seeing deceased civilians along the way. We eventually reach the streets where we engage Russian forces before running into a French squad in the back of a restaurant. The fighting continues through the streets and we are offered support from an AC-130 before finally reaching a manhole that leads to the Paris catacombs. Heading underground, we navigate around thousands of skulls and bones on the walls before taking out a Russian and getting flashbanged. Once able to see again, we see Volk running. We clear the room and take out a number of enemies in pursuit of Volk. After climbing a ladder and reaching the streets above, we see Volk driving off. Hopping into the passenger seat of a van, firefights continue during a car chase before we move to the back of the van where we take out a large number of enemy infantry including tanks and choppers before we are able to neutralize and capture Volk. Iron Lady. Waiting for extraction with Volk still in captivity, a friendly Osprey is shot down before hitting the ground, forcing the team to avoid debris. Now needing to make it to a secondary extraction site, we take control of an AC-130 and begin to cover the squad as they make their way through the streets. After decimating many enemy forces and vehicles, we're put back in control of Frost as the AC-130 is under attack. We then fight to clear a hotel and courtyard. After clearing the courtyard and marking an enemy tank for an airstrike, we're put back in the seat of the AC-130, where we cover the team as they get into Humvees and proceed to the extraction point. After reaching a bridge in front of the Eiffel Tower, we get put back in the boots of Frost and tasked with eliminating tanks with a javelin. After an extremely close bombing run, the Eiffel Tower collapses as choppers arrive to extract our team. Eye of the Storm. Now back with Yuri, Captain Price, and Soap, we sneak past enemies by swimming through parts of sewers in Prague. Price separates from the other two, and Yuri and Soap take out a small patrol consisting of 2 snipers and a dog and a handler. Unable to hide the bodies, Yuri and Soap quickly and quietly sneak through the side buildings before reaching a large group of enemies that are preparing to unload a BTR from a transport helicopter. We open fire as the transport helicopter is hit by an RPG, causing it to drop the BTR. Now joined by many resistance members, we take out many enemies before being forced to jump through a window into an art gallery. Making our way through the building, we fight more enemies going through the streets before making it to a church to prepare for the assassination of Makarov. Blood Brothers. Starting off at the top of the church, Yuri and Soap are ready to take out Makarov. Price rappels down the building to the room where Makarov will be. After entering the building, an elevator reaches the floor Price is at. Inside is Kamarov, strapped to a chair with C4. Makarov tells Price, "Hell awaits you," and detonates the C4 before saying, "Yuri, my friend, you never should have come here," blowing the explosives he planted in the church.
Get out now!
Looking over, we notice Soap covered by debris and bleeding severely. Price arrives to help the duo. Price blows a hole into a wall so that the team can escape through it. After setting Soap down, Price begins to carry him, and we cover the two, rushing to a building held by resistance members. When making it to the building, Soap is placed on the table. Yuri and Price desperately attempt to stop the bleeding. Soap then sits up and uses his last breaths to tell Price that Makarov knows Yuri. A dejected Price places an M1911 on Soap's chest, telling his friend, "I'm sorry." Hostiles begin to move into the building, and Yuri and Price move to escape underground. Price tells Yuri to open a door. Immediately after doing so, Price punches him in the face, knocking him down the stairs. Now holding Yuri at gunpoint, Price demands to know how Makarov knows him. Throughout a flashback, Yuri explains that he and Makarov were there the day Price shot off Zakhaev's arm in Chernobyl. He admits to being with Makarov the day he detonated the nuclear bomb during the first game. He also revealed that he attempted to prevent Makarov from carrying out the airport massacre in the mission No Russian before Makarov shot him and left him for dead. Yuri awakens and crawls to the airport in a futile attempt to kill Makarov.
Okay, Yuri. You bought yourself some time. For now.
Stronghold. The mission starts with us parachuting near a castle where Makarov holds a weapon cache. After eliminating a couple enemies on patrol, we continue into the castle, sneaking under trucks and platforms, planting C4 along the way to mask our later escape. Progressing into the castle, we enter and clear a guard room, where Price uses the dead guard's fingerprints to gain access to the dungeon below. Using night vision, we make our way throughout the dungeons, taking out enemies, before we reach and cross scaffolding under a bridge, planting more C4 later to take out the bridge. Once reaching the other side, we use the sound of thunder to mask the sound of us breaching a wall, the side of which is a narrow passage with wires leading to the main control room. Climbing up support beams, Yuri and Price reach a vent where they eavesdrop on a conversation between Alexei and Makarov, learning that the Russian president is still being interrogated for the launch codes, and that Makarov's men are moving in to capture the president's daughter. Alexei is alerted of a breach inside the castle, so Price tosses a grenade through the vent as he and Yuri drops down the supports before making their escape. Reaching a ledge overlooking the bridge from earlier, we detonate the C4, taking out a number of enemies. Proceeding and fighting through the courtyard, the duo get into a jeep and quickly exit the castle, all while being fired at. Eventually, the jeep takes too much damage and Price drives it off a cliff where we must deploy our emergency spare chutes to escape. Scorched earth. Waking up on his back, Frost looks up and sees Sandman running over to him. We walk past injured soldiers toward a collapsed building. Flashing back to 20 minutes prior, we're on board a little bird heading into Berlin to save the Russian president's daughter. After landing on a rooftop, we fought our way through offices. Later, reaching a different rooftop, we provide sniper support so that friendlies can land. Tanks roll up in the streets below, and we call in a strafe run to take them out. Continuing the sniper support, we watch as the other squad rappel down to breach a door. The team leaves our sights as they enter the building, and we see an explosion through the door that they had just entered, which takes the team down. Now taking on the responsibility of saving the daughter, we rappel to the streets below, where we end up supporting a German tank squad. Reaching the end of a street, a building explodes, falling onto the two teams' heads. Back to where we were before the flashback, we follow Sandman attempting to find a way out of the collapsed building, making it to a hotel where the daughter is being held. We begin to breach the door before it explodes on us, knocking us to the floor, where we manage to eliminate the two soldiers. Recovering, we hurry into the room where we see the daughter being taken away on a helicopter.
We can't risk it! Overlord, negative precious cargo. We lost her.
Down the rabbit hole. Starting off descending in an elevator, Yuri with Task Force 141 and Delta Force reach a tunnel and take out a patrol before the elevator is hit with a rocket, causing it to plummet to the bottom level of the mines and kill McCoy. After exiting the elevator, the teams come across two paths and split up before eventually reaching a large room where we eliminate many more enemies before breaching and clearing a room. Going through the door, we clear more of the mines before reaching the third level and making it back outside. Using a Predator drone, we take out Russian forces and continue pushing forward. The Predator drone is destroyed, so we call in an airstrike to blow our way back into the mines. Breaching a door, we find the president's daughter, who tells us they took her dad deeper into the mines. Fighting past hostiles, we eventually repair down to the bottom level of the mine and see the president being taken into a bunker. Seeing that the bunker doors are too thick to breach, Captain Price has the idea to enter from above as we blow a hole into the roof of the bunker, clearing the room and securing the president. As we're evacuating with the president, taking him back to a Black Hawk, an overwhelming amount of enemies assault us, shooting a little bird down, hitting Yuri. Truck drags us toward the chopper before returning to the squad to help fend off the enemies. Running out of time, Sandman tells Price to get to the helicopter. Price tells him that we're in this together and he's not going to be left behind. Price hands us his M4 and drags us the rest of the way to the chopper. Sandman and his team defends us as we load onto the chopper. We watch as the squad is overwhelmed and must take off without them. Dust to dust. For the first time since attempting to assassinate Zakhaev in Chernobyl, we open our eyes as Captain Price, as he and Yuri are fully suited up in Juggernaut suits, preparing to assault Hotel Oasis. Hopping out of the back of the van, we head towards the lobby, gunning down Makarov's men along the way, as Nikolai breaches the hotel security. Reaching an elevator, the duo fends off a chopper that is firing at them, causing it to crash into the elevator and making it start to drop, shredding our Juggernaut suits in the process. After jumping to the next elevator, we head to the 27th floor, and Nikolai warns that we must hurry to catch Makarov. Fighting through enemies, we go through a penthouse, diner, and past a small stage. A chopper shows up firing at us, causing the floor to collapse, and injuring Yuri as a piece of metal sticks through his stomach. With no time to spare, Price gets up and rushes to catch Makarov. Reaching the roof, we see Makarov's helicopter taking off and run to jump off the edge of the building, barely grabbing the helicopter's landing gear. Price climbs up and takes out the two pilots, the second of which accidentally shoots the controls, forcing Price to crash land the chopper back onto the roof. Waking up looking through a cracking glass ceiling, we turn and see Makarov exiting the chopper. We crawl towards a pistol in between us, but Makarov is the one that's able to grab it. As Makarov aims at Price's head, Yuri comes out of nowhere and fires multiple shots into Makarov before Makarov is able to kill him first. Taking advantage of the distraction, Price takes Makarov to the ground, punching him in the face a few times before wrapping the rappel line from the helicopter around his neck, hooking it to create a makeshift noose. Price lifts Makarov up, slamming him through the glass ceiling, both falling through. Makarov is hung by the line, while Price survives the fall. Captain Price lights up his cigar and watches as his biggest enemy swings. So yeah, that was Modern Warfare 3 and the conclusion of the Modern Warfare trilogy, the original one, not the remakes. If you enjoyed it, made it this far, please like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment, start a discussion. What's your favorite Call of Duty campaign? I plan on covering the rest of them as much as I can anyways in the coming weeks. And yeah, signing out.